Hey guys, welcome to Garage Football. Here's our 2019-2020 Premier League season preview. Well guys, it only seems like yesterday since the previous season finished. You excited about the new season?
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. It looks good. It looks exciting.
It's going to
Especially
be...
after last year.
Yeah, should be some surprises, hopefully. Some things I think we're going to expect is going to happen, but...
Yep.
This is going to be a tricky preview, I'm going to be honest. Well, not so much the first half, if you like, but when we talk about relegations, etc., surprise teams...
I've changed my mind so many times about who's going to be relegated and things like that.
When this goes live, I'll probably watch it back and go, oh, no, I should have said that scene. But...
And plus we're recording it a few days before the transfer window closes, so... There might be some transfer that happen after this video, but this is based on what's happened now.
I think we can all safely say no one's going to predict Man United to win the league, are they?
No.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Cool. So let's start with the top six then.
Yeah.
Might as well start with you, Bill. So go with you.
Okay, so to win the league, I think Man City will win the league again. I think like last season, Liverpool to finish second, Tottenham third. Man United to improve on the Solskjaer, finish fourth, and then fifth and sixth I think it'd be Arsenal and Chelsea.
Very good. So you think Man United are going to just hit that top four spot this season?
Yeah, I think Wan-Bissaka's a real good signing, proper defender. They haven't had a proper right back for years. They've had Valencia and Ashley Young, so he's a real good defender. They've been linked with Harry Maguire for a world record fee. Looks like that's going to happen in the next few days. I think, I don't think he's worth a world record fee for a player, but like for a defender rather. But I think he's better than what they've got. I think
He'll certainly add to that team.
They've got Dan James. Obviously, he's a very quick player. From he's got something to prove, and I think you'll get more out of the players that are already there. Like Anthony Martial and Marcus Rashford, Jesse Lingard, for example. And if Paul Pogba stays and plays like he can do, then we know what he can do. Is a world class player on his day. But that's if he stays. Yes, I think they'll just about get in the top four. But Arsenal have made some signings. Chelsea are the big unknown. I've gone for sick for them, but you don't know how Lampard's going to do. It's only his second season in management. But we'll talk more about Chelsea later. But I think, Man United to just sneak fourth.
Good.
And Ryan, what's your opinion so far?
I think to win the league, I think Man City. I think they're going to go for it. They want to. I think Guardiola's going to want to win. 3 in a row, like a hat trick of Premier League titles. I think he'll go for it.
Yeah.
I think they're too strong to slip on it, but I think Liverpool will give them a challenge again. It could be Liverpool, but I think Liverpool second. Third, I think Tottenham. I think they will stay in the top four, and I think they'll do it. And I think Arsenal fourth. Very biased of me. I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal do finish fifth or sixth, to be fair. Again, it's a hard preview to make, so I'm sure we'll look back on this and I'll think, oh God, but I've got to support my team, and we've made some good signings. I know the transfer window's not finished yet, so by the time this goes live, we'll see. But be interesting to see Emery's got to give it a push this year, and I think top four is the target. So fourth for Arsenal. I think fifth. I think Man United. I think they'll do well. I think Arsenal hopefully will just beat them for the top four, but you could be right, Bill. Could be them fourth. But sixth, Chelsea. I think Lampard could be a good manager for Chelsea. I'd like to see him do well, but I think his first season, he's not really got the transfers and budget behind him. I think it'll be a bit of a challenge. So I see Chelsea sixth.
Yeah. What about you then, Lou? What's your top six?
Yeah, I mean, like you say, it's the last sort of couple of seasons have been really competitive, haven't they? And there's a lot of surprises and there's a lot of unknowns. So I think that factors in. I think same as you guys. I think you can't put it past Man City and Liverpool to be the top two.
Yeah.
So I think Man City are going to win it again. I just think they're getting to that level where they've got that championship mentality. They're becoming winners all the time every season.
I think it'd be hard for any other club to win the league when Pep Guardiola is still the manager of Man City.
Yeah.
I think as long as he's in charge, I think it's going to be strong for any of the other managers, no matter how good they are with the squad they've got.
Yeah.
They've signed Rodri as well. I think he's a good signing.
Yeah.
And they've got strength and depth throughout their squad.
Yeah.
Kevin De Bruyne is back fit now. He wasn't fit for the whole of last season. So what a player to have fully fit again.
I mean, when Sane and De Bruyne can't get in a team.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think that'll be too strong. I think for everyone else this season.
I think Liverpool again will go close. I think it will be again I do think it will be a couple of points between the top two again, and I still think there'll be a big gap between the top 2 and 3, 4, 5, and 6, like it was last year. I think again, a surprise, controversial one for me is between Spurs and Chelsea for the third spot. It's a strange one, but I'm going to actually just go for a dark horse and say Chelsea third. We know that they've got the transfer ban, obviously, and we know that they don't have. Obviously, they've lost Hazard, so some of their best players. Again, they'll have that feel-good factor for the first half of the season, like United did with Solskjaer, and then there will be the real test when they have results that don't go their way. I think that'll be the interesting one. But I think Lampard obviously has a much better squad to work with now than he did at Derby, with a lot more talented players. Obviously, he knows a lot of them for a long time, and I think he's part of an era when he knows what it means to win at Chelsea, from their glory days, you know. So I think he'll know what he wants to see. I think even when they were on their pre-season in Japan, like he was out with them doing the runs in the morning, the big long runs and stuff like that. I think from your manager, if you turn around and your boss is like lapping you and showing that kind of thing, you don't often get that. So I think he might bring something out of them. So surprise one for me is a prediction, but I think third. Spurs, I think fourth. Then I think Man United fifth, and then I think Arsenal sixth.
Okay.
Obviously, I'd like Arsenal to do well, but I think for Emery, this is his real test, isn't it? In that he's had a year now to start trying to put the way he wants to play in and seeing what players work and what players don't work, and obviously start to bring in his own signings. So it'll be. I think this will be the real test for him to see.
So you think they'll drop a position this year?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with Arsenal, it's always a couple of points. It's always. I mean, at one point, like by Christmas in January, we were almost surefire one.
The top 4 was in their hands.
Yeah,
and then they lost to Palace, drew with Brighton, lost away at Leicester and Wolves, I think it was.
Yeah, so we fell apart again.
You know, and I think Chelsea finishing third. I think it was because I think the others cracked.
Yeah.
Under pressure, Man United really lost their way after a good run by Solskjaer. Arsenal fell away. Spurs just about hang on for fourth.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be difficult. And I think some of the mid-table sides, I think potentially could gate crash top 6. We'll come on to them shortly. Okay, so we all think that City are going to win the league again.
Yeah.
We all think that Liverpool are going to finish second. So let's chat quickly about Man City then. So why do we all think they're going to win it again?
I think from my perspective, I think they just look too strong. I mean, so did Liverpool. They look.
Yeah.
I mean, they were incredible last year. You know, the points they got. But I just think they're going to do it, and I think Guardiola is going to do everything he can to just get 3 in a row. I think this is their time to do it, and you know, Liverpool could win the league. They've got the opportunity, and they're strong enough, in my opinion. But I just can't see them losing the title this year. I think they're too strong at the moment, and I think you're right. While Guardiola's there. Yeah. They're almost invincible, you know, and I think he wants that. I think Guardiola's not going to be there forever, you know. Whether he wins the Champions League with them in the future or not, I think if he can turn around and say, you know, he won 3 back-to-back Premier Leagues,
he won the Champions League.
And the season before that he won, you know, the domestic treble. Mate, he'd always be a god. Yeah, I think it's imperative for him to win it this year, because I think from a personal pride point of view, that's what he wants, and that's my opinion.
What do you think, though?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, when we were chatting off camera before we came to film this, I think City have that championship mentality instilled in them from a manager and a coach and stuff that know what it means to win at every level constantly. I think the good example was around Christmas time last year. I can't obviously recall the exact amount of points. There was a couple between.
They lost against Leicester. They lost to Newcastle. They had a couple of iffy results.
Yeah.
And then, but I think by the time they played Liverpool at the Etihad, they were somewhere around 7 points behind, 8 points behind.
Yeah, and they turned it around.
They won that game. They should win that game, and then both Liverpool and City won. I think 14 matches in a row.
Shit, it's unbelievable.
Which is ridiculous, and it's like FIFA, like playing FIFA or something.
On easy.
Exactly. Amateur.
Yeah.
Game after game, you're just winning easily
Yeah.
in the end. So, yeah, I agree with you boys. I think they've got squad. I think they've got the best manager in the world, Guardiola.
It's annoying because I didn't want him to be. You know when like he hasn't done it in England yet, but he's proven it that he is special.
And Kevin De Bruyne back fully fit. I think that they did amazing to even get 98 points, and he played like half the games or whatever.
Yeah, unbelievable.
So him back fully fit will make a difference. Yeah, I don't see any weaknesses in the team. I mean, Vincent Kompany's left, but it's not like he played every game. I just think they'll be too strong. I think for me, Liverpool, I think they'll be challenging, but I don't think it'll be as close as last season. I think simply because Liverpool haven't strengthened.
Yeah.
I think there's still some weaknesses. If their front three, if any of them are injured or suspended, I don't think there's they've got Shaqiri, but there's still
there's gaps they can
plug.
plug.
I think Origi's a decent impact sub, but I don't think he's a starter personally. So I think they're still short on that. And I think they're still short in midfield in an attacking sense. I mean, they were linked with Fekir last season, but he went to Real Betis, I think. So I don't know what happened there. They didn't pursue that. So, but I think Jurgen Klopp said they can't spend crazy money every summer, and you've seen that so far.
I mean, you think after winning the Champions League, though, I mean, that's your ideal opportunity, isn't it, to show like the clubs you're an elite level club. Everyone's going to want to play at that level and that type of football, that exciting attacking football. You'd think that would be the opportunity, but maybe there's just not the players that they want for the money they want in those positions that they need.
Or maybe
to
they don't have the money. Maybe maybe they're trying to save it. But I still think they'll challenge City, but I think City will win by about 7 or 8 points. I don't think it'll be as close.
Yeah.
I'd love it to be close. Go to the last day again. I just can't see it personally. But I think there'll still be a gap between them and the other teams.
That's a good point, yeah. So that's our view on City. So it's going to be an interesting season in terms of the top 6. I think the top 2, I think loads of people kind of know that's going to be the case.
Yeah. There's too big a gap, wasn't there, between top 1 and 2, and then the 3, 4. Was it like 20-something points was between second and then the 3rd, 4th, 5th teams at one point?
It might be. It was
a massive gap.
It was at least double digits.
Yeah, so, it was an outrageous gap.
Well, I think, for me, 3rd, Tottenham. I think that finally made some investment. In Ndombele from Lyon. I think it's a good signing. If they get their first 11 out every week, I think Tottenham's team's one of the best in the league, but it's their problem is their backup players. I still think there's some holes in their squad, but Pochettino, I think we're all big fans of him, even though you two are Arsenal. But I think we
appreciate
the job he's done on the budget and stuff. So.
And to get to the Champions League final as well.
Yeah, that was a great achievement. So I think they'll finish 3rd. I still don't think they'll challenge, but I think it'll be comfortable in the top 4.
Yeah.
No, definitely. So I think we're all in agreement. From 3rd to 6th, we don't really know what's going to happen.
No.
It's just
I've changed my mind so many. A few weeks ago I said Arsenal, and then now it's Man United. I thought even Chelsea might get. I don't know. Yeah,
we'll just have to see.
Let's check Arsenal while you two are here. Now. So I mean, made the big money signing Nicolas Pepe, and made a couple of other signings. The Spanish midfielder.
Yeah, Ceballos and Martinelli.
Yeah, from Real Madrid, didn't he?
Yes, and Saliba obviously being bought but going back.
He went back, so I think we're in agreement at the forward areas. I think Arsenal are pretty decent, but
still
it's at the back, and I think that's what will cost them a Champions League place.
Yeah, we've seen it again, even in pre-season. Obviously, we're towards the end of pre-season now, aren't we? We're pretty much almost at starting line for the league.
Looking better, yeah.
Yeah, we're looking better, but I mean, there's still the same problems. There were so many mistakes again with Mustafi and all that kind of thing.
Did you see his mistake in the Emirates Cup against Lyon, where he's trying to play offside, and he's like nearly halfway line? It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, That's going to be our problem, I think. Like we've got.
Mustafi is our problem.
Yeah.
I've always said it so many times, but
They've been linked with Tierney from Celtic, but he's a left back. I think that's still a problem position because I think Kolasinac is not a left back, he's a left wing back, and Monreal's getting on a bit. So I still think they need left back. I think Bellerin's still out injured, isn't he? So who's going to play right back?
Yeah.
And who's going to partner Socrates at centre back? Because Shelby's gone on strike pretty much.
yeah,
Mustafi's not good enough.
I think Holding needs a chance.
But isn't he injured still?
At the moment, but I think he's got potential to come in and be strong for Arsenal. But yeah, we that's where we lack, is at the back, and it's quite funny. It's ironic that you're seeing them spend the money now, and technically on paper getting good signings, but they're still ignoring the back.
Yeah. I think Arsenal had a lot of problems, and they still have a lot of problems. Well, one of them was a winger, because I don't think Iwobi and Mkhitaryan are good enough for a Champions League team at the moment. I think Pepe, I think he'll do well. But it reminds me of when Jurgen Klopp took over at Liverpool. They were just like very on the front for it, and they had, it was like basketball matches with Liverpool.
Yeah.
Like they had to win,
5 goals.
They had to win matches in the first hour of this heavy metal football. Whether Emery will play like that with Arsenal, probably not. But it was like end to end stuff. You have a shot, we have a shot, that kind of thing. So I don't think Arsenal going to be boring this season, but I think they'll still concede a lot of goals.
I mean, that's why I think Arsenal can. I mean, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't be surprised if they finish 5th or 6th this year. I wouldn't be surprised because the defence could let them down. But because of the attack force now, I think we can go for top 4. I think it is possible. Yeah. But that's what Emery's always said when he came in. He'd much rather win 5-4 than win 1-0. I'd rather just win games. But
I think he has to go all out attack because they can't rely on the clean sheets. When, as I said earlier, when Klopp took over at Liverpool, he couldn't rely on clean sheets, but now he can because he's got Alisson, goal, Van Dijk. Centre back. He can rely on. He can.
It's a work in progress for Arsenal.
I still think it's going to take another couple of years to be anywhere near where we need to be yet, because the market also doesn't seem to be the players that are around as well that they want to.
I mean, I've accepted that as an Arsenal fan. I've accepted that, and I think
we've accepted like mediocrity for like 10 years now.
Yeah, we've had no bloody choice, have we? But I accept that. Do you know what? Even if we do finish 5th or 6th this year, it's a work in progress, and I am seeing progress with Arsenal. Yes, it was frustrating last year when we blew top 4 when it was on a plate for us. Really, frustrating. Typical Arsenal in a way, but. I think Emery has done good in his first season. And you know what? There's some good signings now, so hopefully we can build on this. Hopefully we can go for top 4, but even if we don't, Emery's just getting his style, and let's face it, all he needs is just to work on that defence. And we could be, we're probably 4, 5, 10 years away still from ever challenging for the title. But it all starts with top 4. Yeah. That's our target, and then who knows? Things can change, but we just got to be patient. We know what we've had for years. We've all wanted Wenger out for a long time. He's gone. Emery's in, so be careful what you wish for now. We just need to go forward, and it's not all about Emery. It's not all about that. I mean, look at Kroenke at the top. We've had some good signings this season. Pepe, for example, record signing. But there's only so much you can do. With your funds, and so it's going to be a slow process, but that's my view on Arsenal this year, so fingers crossed. Arsenal do well.
Cool. Alright, well, should we touch on Man United then, lads? Bit of an unknown this season really, because Solskjaer had a great start, and then it fell away towards the end of the season. This is his first full season. He's made a couple of signings. What would you reckon?
I think Man United are a weird one, because you look at their squad on paper and a lot of the stars that they've got. I mean, that should be a top 1 or 2 Finnish style team. When you look at the quality they've got, Well, I mean, there's players. There's
I don't think it's as good as
efficient.
City or Liverpool. Their squad.
No, maybe not. Maybe not as good. But I mean,
But on paper, they've got, you still got your Pogbas, you still
yeah.
got...
You had Lukaku. I mean, obviously Lukaku's a bit up in the air at the moment, isn't he? But I mean, he was still one of their record signing strikers. Big money strikers.
Yeah, but Lukaku's done okay, but he still didn't score a huge amount of goals for the money they paid for him.
I just think with Man United, they should be a team like when you think of their history and you think of like what the type of player they've still got world class players in that squad.
Who?
Well, Pogba definitely.
Yeah, but
I mean, Lukaku...
but flashes though, not all the time. Lukaku's not world class. Who else is? I mean, De Gea probably, but not on last season. I don't think he was.
Because they keep tying him down, don't they? Obviously,
Yeah.
with a new contract, so he obviously seeing maybe it's just money. I don't know, but
I think on his day De Gea is, but there's not. I think United are where they deserve to finish last season because I don't think the squad's good enough. I don't think they've signed the right players over the years. We've had this chat a number of times, me and you, Ryan, haven't they? About even Alex Ferguson last couple of seasons didn't have the right investment, and ever since then it's been a haphazard transfer policy.
They seem to be throwing money at it. I hope it
Yeah.
is. But how can you get it that wrong at a club like that? Because other clubs don't.
Just buying a reputation rather than whether it fits the team structure. I think Solskjaer's trying to do that. He'd be bought in Wan-Bissaka. I think he's a good signing. Young, English, a good defender. Their right back's been a problem for a number of years. I think he'll do well for him. I think Dan James, one of these young up and coming British players. He's got a lot of pace, which traditionally may not have had vast wingers. You think of Ryan Giggs, Conchelsis, etc.
Yeah.
Cristiano Ronaldo. So I think he's trying to fit players into his own philosophy. But as I said earlier, being linked with Harry Maguire, I think he'd be a good.
Sure things up.
I think he'd be a good defender because
They don't seem to have ever replaced the Evras and the Vidiches and the
No.
Ferdinands.
I think Lindelof did well at periods last season. So if Maguire does sign, I think him and Lindelof will be the first choice pairing. That's not a bad pairing. I think Luke Shaw. I think under Solskjaer he did okay. So I think he'll be the starting left back. So that's not a bad back four. And going forward, I think they've got talent there, but they've just got to make the most of it. So I think there were good signs when Solskjaer took over. Whether they can continue it for a whole season, we'll have to see.
Again, with United, you could say the same with Arsenal. It's a transitional period. They're rebuilding.
Yeah.
But they can't stick with the manager, can they? Over the last couple of years, they've had Moyes, what's his face, Van Gaal, Mourinho. Like every time they're trying to throw hundreds of million into.
I think they're going to stick with Solskjaer. I think because
they've got it really, haven't they?
I think they've got no choice really because the players. It's been the same throughout those managers we've mentioned.
Yeah.
I don't think it is the manager's fault or the coach's fault. I think the players and at boardroom level, like Ed Woodward's come under fire, and rightly so. I think they've got to give Solskjaer time. But whether Solskjaer is the man, we don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
the buck's got to stop somewhere.
He might not be good enough for I think they have to give a manager time.
Yeah.
I think they will do, but
to try and get players playing.
I think it actually helped Solskjaer that they had that bad period at the end of the season, because usually when the caretaker comes or interim manager comes in, they do well, and then the following season they don't do very well. He's already had that bad period.
Yeah.
So I think that's helped him with players he'd like to keep and not keep.
And what did both of you think in terms of looking at some of these star players like Sanchez, like Pogba, who are commanded outrageous wages, big transfer fees?
Well, I don't think that's helped them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you think that they would benefit from getting rid of those players? Because
certainly Sanchez, yeah.
Yeah.
He just can't fit in, can he?
No,
he doesn't always get given the game time, does he? But
I just think he deserves the game time. He's been rubbish, hasn't he? I think it might be a good sign that he did well for Chile in the Copa America. But I think for that amount of money, what is it, $500,000?
$500,000 a week.
That was fucking ridiculous, isn't it?
He's got to go, hasn't he?
Yeah. So but he might turn it around. I don't know. Pogba, on his day he can be an incredible player, but obviously he's been linked with Real Madrid. He might leave, and if he does stay, will he play to the level he can do? Well, that remains to be seen.
Well, that's the
So
problem.
we don't know. It's a big unknown, big question mark with United.
That's the problem, though. You can spend money on big names like Pogba and people like that who are great players, but do they always fit the team? Pogba can. He can fit the team, but he's very much, like you look at the feud with Mourinho. It's players sometimes have too much control and influence, I think, and that can be a negative in itself. So we just have to see. It's all about rebuilding and finding a click where they can just work as a unit. And at the moment, I think that's it. I think you are right. I think there are some world-class players there, like Pogba, and technically Sanchez, but he hasn't been. He's been crap. On paper, there's world-class players there, but they're just not playing.
Football's played on grass, not paper.
Exactly. Exactly. And they're not. The problem is world-class players, but not a world-class team.
Yeah, but look who they've signed. Us on Di Maria, didn't work. Falcao didn't work.
Depay, another good player.
Yeah, but he wasn't world class.
No, not world class. No, but I mean, he was again young player, lots of time to develop. He was rated highly, wasn't he?
Yeah, he played for the wrong manager, Van Gaal.
Yeah.
So sometimes they're the right players, but the wrong manager.
And then you see like when they were freed up when Solskjaer came in, and like I watched the first 4 or 5 games of that run, and like they were excellent to watch. It was kind of like they looked so free, and then it sort of went back to the old way, which is weird because when getting the results, big results against when they were the underdog, like the PSG game and stuff, where they realistically had no right to be winning that, yet they still.
But you'd be interested to see in pre-season whether he's worked on their fitness, because I think he wants them to play this counter-attacking football. I think that's why they brought Dan James in, because he's incredibly quick. So there's a different type of fitness from containing and trying to break rather than this pressing from the front, which I think Solskjaer wants them to do. It's a different level of fitness. So whether in pre-season he's done that, we'll find out. We'll find out. We've had some decent results in pre-season, and I think we'll play more the youngsters. Mason Greenwood, for example, is one. Yeah. And obviously Dan James is a youngster as well. So
and I like McTominay as well. Scott McTominay.
Yeah.
He's decent as well.
Yeah, and Wan-Bissaka's young as well. So I think 4th, but it wouldn't be a surprise if they finish 5th or 6th either.
Yeah. It seems to be United and potentially Chelsea the 2 biggest unknowns in that top 6 this year, right? I don't know if you guys think that. That seems to be the consensus.
Chelsea, we'll touch on Chelsea now, shall we? So, I think, as I said, Frank Lampard, it's only his 2nd season in management, but, he was a top player, wasn't he, for Chelsea. And I think I watched Derby a little bit last season. I never thought I'd see the day where Richard Keogh becomes a ball-playing centre-half. Never thought I'd see that happen. And to be fair, he did a good job with it. So, and to get Derby to the playoff final was good. With a lot of the youngsters like Mason Mount, who have at Chelsea. It'd be interesting to see how Tammy Abraham does at Chelsea. When he played in the Premier League before with Swansea, I don't think he'd done very well, but Swansea were a pretty poor side at that time. Pulisic, you've probably seen a bit of him, Lou, for Dortmund.
Yeah, good young talented player, yeah.
But, to fill the shoes of Eden Hazard, I think... I think if they didn't have him last season, they would have been out of the Champions League places, I think. Yeah. He's gone now. It's a big unknown.
Makes it exciting, doesn't it?
But that's the thing. I think everyone's talking about the Chelsea youngsters. They've got to get game time, and I think you like to think they'll get more under Lampard. I think just it's a shame for Lampard that Callum Hudson-Odoi is out injured. I think Loftus-Cheek is probably I think he's injured again. It's a big unknown with Lampard. But if he finishes 6th, or even outside the top 6, I think he's got to be given time, because if he doesn't get given time, Chelsea legend, English manager, they'll never give a Chelsea manager any time.
No.
Yeah, definitely.
You could argue then if they do give him time, Bill, as long as they do, you could argue this was the best time for him to become the manager.
Yeah.
Because zero expectations.
This is his time to come in, put his stamp on it, and then,
it might work out.
Shock him.
Yeah.
But I haven't got a lot to say about Chelsea. I think I think Lampard will motivate the team. I think he can do well for them. But I think it's going to be a bit of a challenge this season, with all things considered, and the other teams that are going to contend for the top 4. So, yeah, that's my view on Chelsea. But I think you're quite optimistic about them this season, aren't you?
Yeah, I just think that he's got I think we probably agree across the board. They're going to have that initial feel-good factor, like United did, and then they'll have the difficult run of results, and that will be when it will really be testing. But I just think that he knows what it means to win at the most successful period of that club with one of the greatest managers ever, and knows what was demanded and how they were so successful. And I think he's going to bring a lot of that with him, And I think because he's still of a player's age, really. I know he's an older player.
I think he gets the younger generation.
Yeah. And
obviously, he had a load of youngsters at Derby, and they did well for him.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He seems... I think he'll have that Klopp feel-good factor. Like where Klopp goes on and he's got his arms around the players and he's psyching them up, and Guardiola does it well. I think it's a different style of man management now, isn't it, to what it used to be.
I think that's why Mourinho
he's of a different era.
Failed at Man United.
And so I think Lampard will have that, and again, like my brother's a massive Chelsea fan, so I've across the years I've watched a lot of Chelsea games at Lampard's prime and stuff. I just think he'll.
You've got a soft spot for Chelsea, haven't you? I think that if you had to pick another team other than Arsenal,
I like watching it again because my brother's a bit. So I've just watched lots of games of them over the years. I've always sort of having a younger brother who's always got the football, and you just kind of sit down, you end up watching it, and you kind of enjoy. At that point, Arsenal were not even anywhere near at the races, so at least watching some team was still competitive in big games was quite fun. And so, admittedly, I've got a bit of a soft spot for him. I want ex-players to do well. I want Solskjaer to do well. I want Lampard to do well. So that factors into it. But I just think, what's he got to lose? There's zero expectation, like both of you guys said. He's coming from the most successful period of their thing, and he seems to have a good relationship with the players. And obviously, there was an article I mentioned that I saw went on the pre-season tour of Japan on the morning runs to get the fitness up. He was at the front of it with them.
Yeah.
Like that. You don't have that often with a manager, do you? Who's out with his players and he's leading by example. So I think it'll be interesting, and I hope he does well with them.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, boys, we've talked about the top 6, our predictions for that, and let's talk about which teams we think will get relegated. We'll start with you, Ryan. Who have you gone for?
Oh, do you know what? This is so tough to really pick these teams. I think Newcastle.
Yeah.
But actually, I don't think. I actually think there'll be. I think Norwich actually 18th.
Yep.
I think they've been promoted. They won the championship. They did well, but I just don't think they'll stay up.
Yeah.
I haven't got loads of reasons for it. I just don't think they'll have the strength for it. I think Newcastle. I just can't see Steve Bruce motivating that team.
Yeah.
And we can see there's loads of weaknesses now. I think it was a terrible decision to not keep Benitez. He would have kept them up, in my opinion. And I think 20th, Sheffield United. I just can't see them have any substance in the Premier League. I could be wrong, but it's so tough to pick this relegation.
Yeah, it's not easy.
But that's my team. You, Lou?
Yep.
Yeah, again, some of the teams I haven't followed through the Championship as well, so it will be hard to give an informed opinion on some of those. From what I've seen over the last sort of year in the Premier League, at least, I think the 3 that will struggle to stay up and potentially go down will be Brighton. I think Southampton will struggle this year as well.
Yep.
And going more historically than anything, I think Norwich will probably struggle as well. There seems to be one of those teams that kind of always bounces between going down and coming back up. Yeah. They had like a period, didn't they, where they were buying like Van Wolfswinkel and all those kind of players. They had a period where they were.
Yeah, but he weren't very good.
No, he was meant to be. Wasn't it? Like when they first invested, there was a period where they were sort of bringing these people.
Well, when they had Dean Ashton and Leon McKenzie up front, even then they still went down. So
that's a good point. So I think they'll struggle, those teams.
There's so many teams in there. It's not like back in the day where it was the 3 promoted clubs, and then that was it. It was up and down, up and down. Whereas now you could potentially name 7 or 8 teams who might get dragged into it.
Yeah, even Premier League teams that have been there for a long time.
Exactly, yeah.
You just never know.
We've said, you guys have said Brighton. I'll go with mine now, so I'm going to go Brighton as well. Newcastle. And my other team, I think Sheffield United as well.
Yeah.
Let's have a chat about a few of the teams then. So, Brighton, I think they'll struggle. I think they had a horrendous end to the last season. They just about stayed up 17th. They sacked Chris Hughton. They've got in Graham Potter, who did a brilliant job at Ostersons. You know, famous to beat Arsenal in the
Let's not mention that.
in the Europa League one of the legs they played them. Did okay at Swansea last season on the shoestring budget, but I think it's going to be very hard for him this season. Nothing against his coaching abilities, but it's his first season in the Premier League. And plus, I still think they rely too much on Glenn Murray. He's getting on a bit now, isn't he? I don't think they've got enough goals in the team. I think it could be a struggle for them. And we've all said. Did you go for Newcastle, Lou?
No, I didn't actually.
I did.
Ryan did.
What do you reckon about Newcastle now? Because I've gone for Newcastle.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what? I don't want Newcastle to go down. I've always had like a little soft spot for Newcastle, but I just think, last couple of seasons. Don't get me wrong. They've gone up and down, but Benitez, I think, he kept them up. He sort of was their rock. And I just think now it's just the morale's gone. I've got a few friends that are Newcastle fans, and they've got no confidence in the team. And then when Steve Bruce came in, I would just think, even the fans are just not behind him.
No.
And
it's not an appointment that's going to incite excitement, is it?
No, exactly. It's not the most inspiring appointment, and Steve Bruce has managed in the Premier League for a few seasons now. I think he's on his way down as a man. I don't think he's tactically that amazing.
That's what I was going to ask you guys. Do you think he's from that old era of management that doesn't, where we were saying a minute ago about new style of man management, that personality thing, that seems to be what people respond to now. Do you think he's not going to get anything like that out of his players because of the generation he's from?
I think Benitez done amazing to keep that squad up, because I don't think the squad's good enough. They've spent a little bit of money this summer, but I think the players are unproven at this level. Whether they'll make the transition and play well, we'll have to wait and see. But the players they had last season who did provide the goals, like Solomon Rondon, he's joined Benitez in China now. And Jose Perez is at Leicester. So the two of their forwards who did score the goals, they've gone from the team. So to even just replace them would be difficult. And they still would have just stayed out with the goals they scored.
Such a shame, because they're a big club, aren't they? Like, great stadium, great fan base, all that kind of stuff. They're one of those clubs that you really don't want to see go down.
No.
Yeah, but I think they've been relegated a couple of times under Mike Ashley, haven't they? And I think it wouldn't be a big surprise if it happened again.
And I could see Steve Bruce. He is a championship manager, isn't he? And that's
it's been the last few seasons.
Yeah. So maybe that he goes down. He's probably the one for them for the season beyond. But don't get me wrong. This is why it's been so hard to pick the relegation teams. I wouldn't be surprised if Newcastle did manage to just stay up at 17th or something, and I hope they do. But I just, to purposes of this video, got to pick three teams, and I see Newcastle going down.
Yeah, I can't see any team getting cut loose like Huddersfield did. I think it'll be fairly close. It's difficult. Let's talk about another team. Let's go Southampton. You went with Southampton, Lou?
Yeah, I just think that Southampton are one of those clubs that they had their sort of golden era, didn't they? When they started having like youngsters like Luke Shaw, and obviously historically like Gareth Bale and Theo Walcott and all these players. Historically, it just seems in recent years they've sort of lost their way a bit of things. I think they're gonna.
Well, there's only so much you could sell and then buy great players and then sell.
Yeah, it's a shame, because they seem to have the facilities in place over a sustained period, don't they, to bring through talent. But I think I don't see anything about them this year that gives me confidence that they're going to be able to compete when you've got teams that like I think it was last year, were Wolves your surprise pick for
Yeah,
last year? Like,
yeah.
you know, traditionally at the start, I think people would say Wolves are probably going to be in that bottom 15 and lower until all of a sudden they have like an unbelievable season. I think when you've got teams like that are overachieving and showing that they've got real staying power, that other teams like Southampton are going to struggle when you're competing with those type of teams.
I don't think Southampton will go down because I think Hazard-Hüttl did a brilliant job. Because I think if Mark Hughes stayed on, they would have gone down.
Yeah.
And for him to get the best out of players like Nathan Redmond was great, and even Shane Long started scoring goals, which I didn't feel was possible. So I think he's a very good manager. You know, they've bought Danny Ings permanently. I think if he can stay fit, it's a good signing.
Yeah.
Bought Che Adams from Birmingham. He's one of these youth prospects, striker. I don't think they'll be mid-table, but I can't see them being relegated.
Yeah. What do you think they'll be in that sort of...
Yeah, maybe 14th, 15th, along with Burnley, maybe.
Yeah. Do you think Burnley this year are going to be...
I think they'll be fine.
Yeah.
They haven't got the Europa League to distract them like they did last season. As long as Sean Dyche is in charge,
they'll be alright?
yeah, they'll be fine. Yeah, they've got enough goals in the team, I think. Pretty strong at the back. They've got, I think Nick Pope should be back from injury now, I think. Joe Hart is not so good. But Nick Pope's a good goalkeeper, got good defenders. Yeah, I think Burnley will be fine. Let's talk about another team.
I wanted to ask you both about Leicester, is that alright?
Yeah,
because I want to see what you think about them recovering after the sort of the tragic, year they had last year. Obviously losing the chairman and all those kind of things and the accidents. Like, do you think how that impacts the club going forward? Restructuring. I'm assuming their management, and their chairmans, and all this kind of how that all factor into.
Well, they sacked Purell, didn't they?
Yeah.
And then brought in Brendan Rodgers. Well, I'll come on to this, our surprise team in a minute, but they're my surprise team for this season. I won't go too much in depth now, but I think they've done as well as they could considering the tragedy.
No, and we'll talk more about them in a second.
I don't think they'll get relegated, nowhere near.
Yeah.
No chance. No chance, no point discussing them in this section.
Yeah.
Sheffield United, I've gone for Sheffield United, so have you, Ryan. I think Chris Wilder's a real good manager. It's about time he's managed in the Premier League. Done brilliantly throughout his career. He won League Two for Northampton. Finished second last season with Sheffield United. He's a good manager, English manager. Whether they've got the quality to stay up, I don't know. But I think getting Dean Henderson on loan again from Man United, the goalkeeper, I think is a good signing. They've got Phil Jagielka, could have re-signed him from Everton on free. The big question mark is Ravel Morrison. We've said that throughout his career, if he can turn it on, he could be a real prospect.
Yeah.
But he's getting towards his late 20s now. He's got to turn it on at some point.
Yeah.
And you just never know. He might be in that magic spark that wins a couple of games for him. You just never know. I'm not sure about Sheffield United. I think they'll give it a go, but I think they might just fall short.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't surprise me if they stayed out.
You never know. That's why it's so tough. But I personally see them finishing right at the bottom, 20th.
Yeah. What about Norwich? I think Norwich will just stay up.
Yeah, I think Norwich. Again, it could be such a random order, but I put them above. I see them getting relegated, but I'll put them just above Newcastle.
Yeah.
I think they'll have a bit more fight than Newcastle, and Newcastle 19. But could be wrong. Newcastle could be. They're not my surprise team because I see them being relegated, but they could define the odds, and they could. I don't think they'll be like Wolves, but they could really have a good run. And
you know, but there's the gap between the clubs and the bottom is so tight.
This is really tough.
You win 3 games in a row, you've gone from 18th to 11th.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Really.
Unbelievable.
This is hard.
What about Norwich for you, though?
Yeah, I think they're going to struggle. I just do. I mean, given the competition, like we were saying, in those areas, that part of the table, and like you say, it's so close. I just got a bad feeling they're going to struggle compared to some of the competition that will probably end up in that lower half of the table. I think it'll be close. I don't think it'll be like a whitewash, like we said, even like with Huddersfield, like last year, as you mentioned, Bill.
Yeah.
Like it will be. There'll be 20 points below everyone else or something ridiculous.
No, I think it'll be fairly close between the clubs.
I think they'll struggle compared to some of the other teams that are going to potentially be in that bottom half
Yeah.
of the table.
What about another side? Crystal Palace. We haven't said they'll get relegated, but I don't know if Sahar leaves, I think it could be a struggle for him.
I've got a feeling he's going to stay, but we don't know. We said that last year as well, didn't we?
That's true,
if he goes, he'll go. They'll go down, but I think they'll just stay up. I think I'm quite not confident, but I think they'll stay up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see what you guys think. Obviously, there's rumours, about Zahara, as there has been all pre-season. And obviously, we don't want to focus too much on rumours. But if he is subject to a large bid from another club, who do you think Everton would? Who do you think Palace would reinvest that in? Is there enough time if they lose a star player?
Well, they're pushing it, aren't they?
Yeah.
But I think.
Who would they bring in? Because there's not many. At the time of recording this, there's not long left in the transfer window, is there? So, is there enough time for them to?
They haven't actually been linked with a lot of players. That's the thing. Usually, like if you've got a big asset and you're looking to sell it, like when Tottenham sold Gareth Bale, they bought a load of players in, then sold him. Palace haven't done that, and I think Roy Hodgson's been a bit. I'm looking to invest in the squad. Because it is a bit of an aging squad. I think if Zaha goes, I don't. Where do the goals come from? Benteke, he's been injured, but when he has played, he's been low on confidence. I mean, Townsend's a good player, but I think it could be a real struggle for him. Hodgson's a good manager. I think he knows what to do to keep the team up, but I think it'd be a long grind for them. If Zaha goes, or even if Zaha stays, I think it could be a long season for them. But I think they'll just stay up, but we don't know. Any other teams you want to talk about?
What about your prediction from last year, Wolves? Ryan, what do you think on Wolves?
I don't think they're going to be anywhere near the relegation zone. But
mid-table for me.
I still think they'll be good. Whether they'll be as strong as they were last season remains to be seen. But mid-table, around that sort of.
Cool.
Yeah,
I think I don't think they'll finish 7th because they'll have the Europa League to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
For that, traditionally, if you're in the Europa League, you'll fall in the league table. But I think they'll be 7th to 10th, have a good season.
Yeah. Cool. So now we might as well talk about our surprise teams. This is always quite funny to look back on. So we'll see what we've got to say this year. But
was it a disaster?
Oh God. Yeah. Well, my
you all won last season with Fulham. I'm surprised how bad they were.
Right, Ryan, we're not going to trust you this year.
No, definitely not. But we'll start with you, Bill, then. So who's your... Well, you said earlier your surprise team.
Yeah, I went for Leicester this season. I think they did really well under Brendan Rodgers when he took over. And I think some of the signings they've made are really promising, actually. Signed Ozzy Perez from Newcastle. I think he's a good forward, good technical player. Scores goals. I think it will take the weight off Jamie Vardy, who's still a good player himself. They've signed Hugh Tillemans on a permanent deal, which is a real good sign. He was a real good player when he signed on loan last season. I think to get him permanently with other clubs like Man United being interested in, I think that's a real coup for them. I think even if Maguire goes, I think they're decent at the back. Johnny Evans still a good defender, in my opinion. Kasper Schmeichel is a good goalkeeper. They've got two of the best fullbacks in the league in Ben Chilwell and Ricardo Pereira. They've got Ndidi in midfield. Mark Albright is very underrated as a winger. Damari Gray.
It's a good squad.
Good so James Maddison. They got. I think it wouldn't be a surprise if they finish 7th or possibly get even the top 6. I think Brendan Rodgers, is underrated as a manager. I think people focus too much on his last season at Liverpool, where it all fell apart, but he nearly won the league with them. Yep. Did great at Celtic.
Yeah.
Plays a good style of possession football. So he changed Leicester from a counter-attacking team to one comfortable with the ball, which is more of the modern style of play. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they get 7th or even get in the top 6.
I think that's a great shout. Just while we're talking about Leicester, I know we're talking about surprise teams, but the question you had earlier, obviously they did have a lot of tragedy last season, and obviously we send our condolences. But what I would say is, I think they're just going to get to strength. They want to keep going, and I think Brendan Rodgers is a great testament to that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great shout, Bill. I think I don't know if they'll be in the top 4 or anything like that.
But they've still got some of the squad that won the league. They've still got that winners mentality.
Yeah.
So people forget it was only a couple of seasons ago.
It's great to see people like Vardy showing his loyalty to the club.
Yeah.
Because he could have gone anywhere, couldn't he?
Yeah,
I know.
Kasper Schmeichel as well, players like that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I think I expected real good things from Leicester. What about you, Ryan? What's the go with you? Who's your team?
Do you know what? I keep changing my mind.
It's another one we keep changing our minds.
This is really, really tough. Aston Villa.
Okay. Why Villa?
Just because I've got to pick a team. No. It's out the hat. No, I think, they've always, there's always been a bit of a struggle with Villa. It's been, the season before they struggled to go up. They were in the playoffs and they just missed out.
Yeah.
This season they're up. I just think they're gonna. Don't get it wrong. Could be completely wrong. They could finish 20th. But I just think they're going to go for it,
Well, they've gone for it in terms of money. They've done a bit like how Fulham done. They've spent the money, but I think they've spent it better than Fulham did.
Yeah.
They've got, Tom Heaton, £8 million.
Yeah.
Good Premier League goalkeeper. That's a bargain in my opinion. But even the players they've bought, they already had them on loan last season. Like Tyrone Mings, the defender, he played really well in the playoff final. I think they've signed him permanently. El Ghazi, the winger as well. He was on loan, but they've signed him permanently. So
they've invested.
Yeah, and I think even the players that were there, I think will step up. Jack Grealish, I think he's due to have a good season in the Premier League. He's the captain now. I think ever since that game against Burnham last season, where he got attacked on the pitch, he was the real driving force for them last season. So, I think John McGinn as well in midfield as well. He's a good player. I think he'll make a step up this season. So
I just think I just think they've got a chance. I don't see them being like Wolves or anything like that, but I don't see them just staying up.
But where do you think? Why would they be a surprise in terms of league position?
Because I think you'd expect Aston Villa, probably historically, and just you can't expect them to maybe.
Recent history, they haven't been very
because they are a club with Premier League pedigree, haven't they?
You sort of.
You've only got to say one Pablo Angel, Ryan.
Ever since Martin O'Neill got sacked, they finished I think 6th 3 times in a row. Ever since then, they've had McLeish, Tim Sherwood, and the French manager. I can't remember who they had in, and then. They were terrible when they got relegated. They were awful. They were one of the worst teams I've seen. Really? They were really bad.
And that's one of the reasons why they'd be a surprise team for me, because you'd sort of expect them to maybe parachute or go down and or just stay up.
Yeah. But you feel be comfortable for them.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying they'll be mid-table or anything like that, but I think they'll do well, and I think the fans will be proud of them. And I wouldn't be surprised if they are, 12th or something like that, and which would be a great season.
They'd certainly take that. I think Dean Smith, I think he's a good manager. He's done well at Walsall, did well at Brentford. And even at Villa, didn't get off to a great start, but they went on a real good winning run. Because I think when he took over from Steve Bruce, they were like mid-table or something, nowhere near the playoffs. One of the big, long run. Got the playoffs and won it, so I think he's good. I think he's a good manager. It'd be interesting to see how he does in this division.
Yeah, definitely. And who's your surprise team?
Yeah, this was difficult because we were talking. Obviously, we've been talking all day about these different things and how hard it is to make a choice. For me, I'm actually going to, again, as we've alluded to in this discussion, my surprise team is actually at the opposite end of the table, more towards the upper sort of 5 or 6, because I was thinking of the teams, traditionally when you think of what's your surprise team, what constitutes a surprise, and when we've discussed it, we've kind of assumed that's a team overachieving of what you'd expect. So, when we're looking at lower league teams, my initial thing for a surprise would have been a team like Villa, but there's no point in discussing the same team. And there's not enough other teams to me that stand out to overachieve. I think they all seem to be where I expect them to be. So I actually think Chelsea finishing 3rd would be a surprise thing for me, because for me I think that's overachieving on what the consensus is. I think everyone expects them to finish 6th or lower maybe because they've lost their star players. There's no money to be invested. They've only got to make do with the kids that they've got.
Yeah, and Lampard's inexperienced.
Inexperienced manager. So I think based on the general consensus of most public opinion would be they're going to capitulate. He'll get sacked and they'll finish like 7th or something like that. But I actually think they're a dark horse to be competitive still. So I think that's why I would go with Chelsea.
That's a valid point. Why would you have said Villa?
Again, so I think Villa are a team historically with a Premier League pedigree. You know, they're not always winning it, but they've always been in. They're always in the top 10.
Yeah. Always in the top 10.
And so I think they've got that about them, as Bill alluded to.
It's a big club, Villa.
It's not a small club.
Villa Park's a great stadium. Yeah, they're the team that should be in there.
Dedicated fan base.
They should be in the top flight.
Yeah,
they should be.
And so,
but you know, they had a real bad spell when bad lack of investment when Martin O'Neill left and got all these managers in, and there's just been a merry-go-round since then. But I think they're on their way back up now. I think it's a good shout, but right?
Yeah, so I'd like them to do well as well, and I think that would have been my reasons for picking them. I think they're a team that deserve historically to be there. I think you don't really. Obviously, then people always say, don't they, about reinvesting on mentalities in clubs and you know what they used to. But I don't think it's far enough away for them to not know what it felt like to be a Premier League club. Like you say, they still have that about them as a team. So I think that would have been the reasons for going with them.
But you picking Chelsea, I can see that as a good shout.
It's something different. I think they're in with a chance. They can only do better than what people think they're going to do. You know. They can only improve on if your expectations are 0, based on what it seems like, you can only improve on that, can't you?
Well, you hope the expectation's 0. You hope that Abramovich is going to sort of give him the time, but this is Chelsea we're talking about now.
That's very true.
Yeah. But that's the thing as well, isn't it? Since all his visa issues and that, he doesn't seem interested. He doesn't want to invest in the stadium now. He doesn't want to put that much money into a country that he's not allowed in. So
you'd like to think he's going to be realistic?
Yeah, I mean, you've seen it the last couple of years, haven't they? I mean, Chelsea are no longer trying to compete with Man City, Man United, even Liverpool. You know, Chelsea were always a team that spent big, weren't they, to bring in star players and things like that to keep competitive. And
I mean, it might be a reset season for them. For years that they've had FA Youth Cup winning teams and things like that, and they're not being given chances. Well, you like under Lampard, they will do. It might work for him, it might not. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's exciting. Again, I think everyone probably agrees it's another exciting season upcoming, because you just can't predict anything anymore.
No.
How often was it? Oh, well, Man United are going to win for the next 5 years. Chelsea were going to win it for the next 5 years. You know, even when City came up, there was still that period where they won it and then they didn't, and then it's.
After all this, Newcastle win the league. Do you know?
Yeah. If I met Steve Bruce, best manager in the world.
No, but we don't know. But I think we can all agree it's going to be an exciting season.
No, I can't wait, man.
And I look forward to us doing the review.
Yeah,
See how right we were, or how wrong we were.
Yeah. More chance the latter, I'd say. But
we'll find out.
No, definitely. But no, thanks for coming on again.
Yeah,
mate.
Thanks for having us, gents.
Always good.
Pleasure as always.
What do you guys think, though? Leave us a comment below with your predictions. Follow us on social media. We're now on SoundCloud. Follow the link below, and please subscribe. But take care, guys.
Bye.